Okay, hello everyone. It is Wednesday, February 20th, according to my calendar. Today is going to be hopefully a quicker webinar than we usually have. Today I just want to talk about the templating engine inside Jensen, inside the Jensen builder. It seems to be a pretty cool feature that the more I talk to people, not quite as apparent as it could be. So let's go ahead and let's just dive right into what I'm talking about. Now, I've already made a campaign. I've spent a bit of time here before this getting the example set up so I didn't have to sit here and do it live for you guys. But essentially what we're going to be talking about today is using one single template to deploy across multiple sites. So let's go ahead and go into this template housing pros here that I've prepared. And let's just take a look around at a few things. So we have the usual Jensen template in here. This looks to be a new one that we just deployed last week. And the first thing that I've gone and done is I've made this template friendly. So we're going to take one Jensen template and we're going to allow that to be deployed across as many sites as possible. Now, you might be running lead gen campaigns, maybe you're doing windows, maybe you're doing doors, maybe you're doing turf. In this case, I've built out an example real estate website, somebody who buys and sells homes. And we're going to take this template and we're going to get it deployed across multiple geos with all of the bells and whistles built into the Jensen site. So the first thing that I've gone ahead and done is I have started to make the text template friendly. And we may have seen that I've done this before where I've taken text and I've just turned it into a substitution token. Then when we go to the next step, this text here will be able to be replaced from any site's deployment wizard. The phone number as well as the site email, these are built-in tokens. Again, here's a visualization of all the built-in tokens. And we're going to be using a variety of these built-in tokens with our own custom tokens to create a single template that we're then going to deploy across multiple sites. So we're going through here. We can see I've made the H1 just a substitution token all by itself. And this subheader, the subtext, I've actually come in here and you can see this custom area right here. I added in this whole block, but we're going to substitute in this region customization as well as this company name customization. So if we have this across two different sites, one is going to be in New York, one is going to be in Southern California, we'll be able to have the content of the site updated properly. So we're going to keep cruising down. Everything is pretty standard on this template. If I was going to do this out in the real world 100% and not just do an example, I would probably have significantly more of this homepage content turned into substitution tokens. Right now for this example, I just wanted to show the overall or the overarching theme, but if I was going to do this completely, I might come in and do something like this and be like, let's see here, let's make, oh, and the GoToWebinar thing gets in my way. Can't see that, but I might come here and I might call this the home page CTA bottom, and that's, let me see if I can get a little bit, there we go. Okay, so I might come through and I might add every single piece of text into its own little custom substitution token. So we've gone through, we've got the home page. We can see here, I've made this separate block here so I can add some specific geo content. Maybe this site's going to be about Southern California, selling homes in Southern California. I'll have a couple paragraphs in here about Southern California. When we go to launch it with a New York site, I might have a couple different paragraphs. So that's going to continue along. We're going to pretty much handle everything like that. And I went through, and we can look at the About Us page, and I've kind of done this to almost every page. So I've added here, we've got this About Us substitution token so that we'll be able to have a unique About Us value in there for every site we launch off of this template. We also see I've used the region token again to customize the content between pages. And we've basically done that across every single page here. So let's look at one quick example before we leave the builder. But I do have this service location index page so that we can show how you can use one template to have multiple sites that have unique service locations built into them. So let's look one more last page at the service location show page. So this is going to be where our city pages get dropped into. So we'll have here, we buy and sell homes in city.name. And just remember that that substitution token there, when you have city.name or anything is going to be a built-in substitution variable here, where when you're on a city specific page, you're going to have access to all of these special values where you'll be able to spit out the lat long of the city, the county of the city URL, the city phone number, if you have a specific phone number for this assigned city, as well as the state and the zip. So hopefully that gives us a good outline of the process of turning a template into a true template. And we're going to look at what I've done for deploying this. Now, I've already created a campaign, so let's go ahead and hop into this campaign. We have this templating example campaign, and we see that we have NewYorkHousePros.com and we have SoCalHousePros.com. So let's open these both up. And here's, we've got both of the site views in Jensen, and we can see right here, the right side, that they're both using the exact same template. So let's go ahead and let's check out the final product here. I'm going to open up both of these URLs, put them next to each other. So we've got on the left side here, NewYorkHousePros.com, and these are domains that I literally purchased and set up and configured less than an hour or two ago. And we go over the SoCalHousePros.com, and we can start to see how the templating works. So the most important step in this entire templating engine is going to be the settings tab of any given site. So if we look at this site, the NewYorkHousePros.com site, I'm going to go to my settings tab, and I'm going to go down to the variables option here. So this variables option, this is where we actually go and we fill out all of the values for this exact site. So if I go over to the SoCalHousePros.com site and I do the same thing, I'm going to go into the settings. We will go over to variables, and we can see here now, let's look at a real quick example or clear example. So right here, and let's open up the template too, just to do all three at the same time, just so I can be certain that we are seeing the connection between the builder and each site that's deployed in the final product. So again, here's the template that both of our sites are using that we looked at. Here's our homepage, and we've got this homepage title token. If we go to NewYorkHousePros.com, we can see that token homepage title has been parsed right here, and we've assigned it the text buy and sell homes in New York. And if we look at our SoCalHousePros.com, we see that the homepage title here is now buy and sell homes in SoCal. And if we look at our actual pages, here is the actual text rendered at NewYorkHousePros.com, buy and sell homes in New York, and SoCalHousePros.com, buy and sell homes in SoCal. So using this substitution token strategy in the templating engine, this is exactly how we can create a ton of different sites from a single unique template, or from a single template. So we can also notice that due to the tech behind Jensen. Each of those sites that was deployed has its own email as well as its own unique phone number. So we switch back and forth. We see both of these have come out with their own unique email and own unique phone number. Now let's look at the final step here. So the locations tab. I'm going to quickly give us a refresher on how we add service locations per site. So I'm looking at newyorkhousepros.com. I'm going to look at the locations tab, and I'm going to do it for SoCal House Pros as well. And let's just complete the loop here. So again, I'm in the template for these two sites. I'm looking at the pages tab, and we have this service location index page. That's going to be the page that lists all of the locations attached to any given site. And then we have the service location show page, which is just going to be the actual city specific page. So we go back over here. I've got newyorkhousepros.com. I've already gone through and I've added Westchester and the Bronx. We can do a live example here. Let me add another New York geo. I'm not super familiar with New York, but let's go ahead and let's add Chinatown. And let's add Madison Square Garden and maybe Fort George. That should add those. The checkbox wasn't working there. There we go. And I also want to try to grab Chinatown. And we got Chinatown here. Okay, so we've added service locations or city service locations for New York House Pros. We can just click update there. And it looks like I already had, it probably didn't like one of those things I did, but we've got our 3 locations here. We're going to go ahead and ignore that location. It was probably a duplicate from what I just added. Here we have our SoCal House Pros locations tab. I've already gone through and I've added a number of cities: Pico Rivera, Palos Verdes, Pasadena, Norwalk, Northridge, North Hollywood, and Marina del Rey. So we don't need to update that. And let's go to the sites and see this in action. So we're on New York House Pros, and we click our locations tab, and this is going to be showing all the locations for this area. Let's see if we can get that update to go for Fort George to pop up here. There we go. So we've got the Fort George page that we just added. So New York House Pros, we're on our listing of all the locations attached to the site. And then again, we can click through and we have a unique service landing page for this specific city, Fort George. Let's go ahead and hop over to SoCal House Pros and let's look at the exact same thing. So we've got the locations tab. We've got our listing of all of our cities here in LA. And we can hop in just like we could the other ones, and we can see that we have our city-specific landing page. So that is kind of the full tour of the templating engine. It's something that I really wanted to get out there to kind of discuss and get a little bit more clear for everyone. But I've seen a lot of cases where guys and girls are doing lead gen campaigns where they're creating tons of sites in a bunch of different niches, but they're doing a similar strategy where they're using a templated site, whether it's WordPress or whatever system they're in, and they're kind of taking and copying and cutting and pasting. And so inside the Jensen builder, using all of this technology we have in here, you can very quickly and very easily do exactly what I just did today in the last 18 minutes, where we have one site that now I can go deploy. Maybe I'm going to work with some realtors in Chicago. Maybe I'm going to work with some realtors in Portland. Doesn't matter. We now have this template that we can get out to as many different locations as we want and have as much uniqueness as we want when the sites are deployed. The one last thing that I want to talk about is if you're trying to use true uniqueness between the templates. So let's say, for instance, that I wanted this logo to be different than the SoCal House Pros logo. So what we would do there is we'd actually just hop back over to our actual templates, and we would have to choose the clone button here. We would go ahead and clone it, and then we would have two templates to be working from. And that's kind of how you can get true uniqueness between the templates. If you need them to diverge, you need to add a bunch of different stuff to one template versus another, you can just come in here and you can break apart from the templating system and create unique templates. So I think that's going to be our shortest webinar to date. If anybody has any questions, could be related to the templating engine, could be related to building sites in Jensen, could be related to anything at all, feel free to drop that in the chat box right now. Otherwise, like always, we will be live again next week on Wednesday. We will hopefully have an email update coming this week about the latest and greatest Jensen software updates. And I will get this recorded. We will have this uploaded if you want to watch it again and figure out how you can use the templating engine to your benefit. Thanks again, everybody. It was a great Wednesday, and we will see you next week.